So let's resume and start in After Effects now. So in After Effects I still have my last project sitting here. So I'm going to say File, New Project. Save the changes? Sure, save that please. Okay, so I've got an empty project. Before I get started, I want to name it and save it so I can find it later and it will be where I think it is. File, Save As, let's name it. We'll call this Bat Demo. Bat Demo in my summer folder, .aep. Make sure this hide extension is off so it says AEP. And in the project, let's import that bat we just made. So I say File, Import, File. There's a particular thing that we need to pay attention to when bringing in Photoshop files that, to animate, as we just did. So actually, I neglected to do something earlier that I usually do. See how I've got Bat Skeleton to JPG and Bat Skeleton PSD? Let me do something real quick. Let me cancel this. Back here in Photoshop. When I save this file, Save As, I usually name this, because the other one is called Bat Skeleton JPG, future me, like a year from now, might come back and look at this and not remember what the difference is between Bat Skeleton JPG and Bat Skeleton PSD. This Bat Skeleton is cut into layers. So I usually name this Bat Skeleton, I usually name it Cut Bat, okay? Or Layered Bat, alright? I like Cut Bat because it's shorter and easier to see. So I'll call this Cut Bat PSD. It's not essential, but like I said, to avoid confusion later with files, I don't like two files that are named the same thing unless they are the same thing, right? It breeds confusion later on. So, back here to After Effects. Let's bring that in here. File, Import, File. And the one I want, it's easier to see now. Oh, that's it, Cut Bat. That's the one that's cut up into pieces. You want to make sure, important part here is where it says import as footage. You don't want to go ahead and say open as footage, because this is not footage. We want instead this. Composition, retain layer sizes. Composition will work just fine. Retain layer sizes, what that does is it makes each layer the size of just the piece I cut up. So you'll see when you do retain layer sizes, the hand will only be, the hand layer will only be as big as the hand, and the upper arm layer will only be as big as the upper arm. If you do just plain old composition, every layer will be the size of the whole thing. So the hand layer will be the size of the whole comp, and the arm layer will be the size of the whole comp. It'll still work. This one's just more friendly, and you'll see why in a sec. So choose composition, retain layer sizes, and say open. And when you want to just go with this, editable layer sizes, you don't want to merge it into footage. That defeats the purpose of everything we did in Photoshop, right? This you could change if you wanted to. It's just like an extra opportunity to catch yourself. Well, I need to get battery. I need to plug in, so bear with me a sec. So say OK. Now, you'll notice that it brings it in as a composition and the layers. Kind of like, we saw this before with the ball. But now you can see all the layers are in there. This is just sort of a bank. Leave this alone. You don't really need this in this case. In some instances, if you wanted to go in here and do an animation of like just the, if you wanted to make a bunch of these bones flying around, you could take these layers and put them in a comp and you could make an animation of just these bones. So they're there. But right now, what we're going to do is double click this Cut Bat, click, open it up, and look, what do you notice? All our layers are here, so check this out. With the eyeball, you can say, look, there's my hand. Left hand is there. Left forearm is there. Left upper arm is there. Body is there. I don't really need this whole back copy, so I could either turn off, well, the eyeball is turned off, so I'm just going to delete that. Don't need extra layers. And layer 1 is just that blue background. I'll leave it there for now, just because it's nice to look at, okay? I'm going to pause this a moment and go get my power supply and then continue. So, follow me through this and do as I do to see how this works. So with left hand, hit R, select left hand and touch R on your keyboard to open up rotation. And if you scrub this number, you'll see how rotation works. If we want to get this bat arm to move, like let's look at the demo clip for a second, so you can see what I'm talking about. Where is it? So do you see how these bat wings are bending at the elbow and the wrist in order to make the wing look like it's flapping? That's what we're after. That's what we're heading for, okay? So if rotation is what we're going to do, we want to rotate at the joint, right? So rotate at the wrist, rotate at the elbow, and rotate at the shoulder. When I do this, you might notice, so rotation is what we want, but it's not rotating at the right place. After Effects by default always puts the anchor point right in the center of the layer. So this hand layer has the anchor point in the center. We want to move this anchor point. You may remember from the ball, bouncing ball, how to move an anchor point. It's this tool right here, the pan behind tool, anchor point mover. If you click on that, you can grab this anchor point and slide it to the wrist joint. The pesky snapping is on. I haven't figured out why that is and how to turn it off. It's aggravating. I don't know why that's happening, but let's see if I can get it where I want it. It is causing things to be difficult. Let me try and move the hand layer over a little bit and grab this and put it. Ooh, let me pause and figure out why that's happening. It shouldn't be snapping. It's a new thing. In 20 years of After Effects, I've never seen this happen, so I don't know. Figure out how to turn this off. No, it's right here. See this snapping? Turn that off. Okay, that was easy. Probably everybody in the class saw that before I did. So I want to put it right there. And then get my move tool and put the hand back right there at the edge of the bone and check the rotation. Looks good. Right? So move the anchor point of left hand to the wrist. Now go to forearm, hit R for rotate. If I move the rotation, same thing. The rotation works, but it's like a propeller. So I want to move that anchor point to the elbow. Grab my anchor point mover, drag it down to the elbow. Once I get it on the elbow, I come back here and move it. Now, elbow looks good. I like what's happening with the elbow, but something is wrong here. When I move the elbow, the hand gets left behind. So what we want to do is position it, tweak the rotation so that the bones are touching. You see this parent column here? We want to take the left hand and under the parent column, parent the left hand to the forearm. Okay? That way, when we move the forearm, the hand will stick to it. Okay? So I call this rigging. Moving the anchor point to the correct place and parenting one part to another. You probably won't see it called rigging in a book or in another demo, but to me it's sort of like taking string and tying them together, which is kind of known as rigging in sailboat lingo. Right? So upper arm, we're going to do the same thing. If I hit R for rotate and do that, it works like a propeller, so I want to make sure the joints are lined up just right and get my anchor point mover, which I still have, move it to the shoulder, check my rotation like this, looks good. I just want to stick the elbow, so if I put the joints together at the elbow and take the forearm, parent it to the upper arm, now I'm in business. If I rotate the upper arm, everything will follow. If I rotate the middle arm, forearm, everything will follow. And if I rotate the hand also, it's just nice, right? So once you've got all these rigged, what I want to do is to create a flap, we want to make just one flap movement. So have the arm be in and then out. So when we flap, the wing's going to go in, out. So let's start with take the upper arm and rotate it so that the elbow, this elbow here, make the elbow get as close to the spine as you can without touching, like right there. And in the the forearm, we want to bring up like this so that the bones are almost touching, kind of like it's a folded up umbrella. And then the left hand, we want to bring the pinky finger of the wing in very close to the hip like that. So this is our in position. This is our flap in. Okay? And all these rotations, we want to put a keyframe for rotation at 0. So all these keyframes are basically wing in. So this is in, in, in. Okay? Now slip forward to 1 second, and at 1 second we want to extend the wing all the way out. So start with the upper arm and rotate it this way, forward, so that the bone is kind of perpendicular to the body, or parallel with the leg, like this. Okay? And see how it makes a keyframe, a rotation keyframe there. So if I scrub this, look, it goes in and out. Okay? So right on that second keyframe here, I want to do the same with the forearm, except this one we rotate the other direction, scrub it to the left, and what you'll notice is the hand and the wrist are going off the edge of the frame, which is kind of undesirable because now I can't see this joint and I can't see these bones are going off the edge. So a way to fix this is to go to the composition, look at the composition settings, and the composition settings for this bat composition are unusual. It's 500 by 331, and you may think, what? Where'd that size come from? This is the size of the original bat image that we got off of the internet, okay? And we never did anything to it. That's the size and resolution of this image. So I want to change that. I want to make it wider. So I'm going to click on the width, hit my back arrow on my keyboard, and just put a 1 there, which will triple the width of it. It'll go from 500 to 1500 pixels wide. And as soon as I say OK, now my comp is wider, and you can see like this layer 1 is just the colored background. I can leave that there, I can turn it off. But now what I've got is room to take the left hand and rotate it way out like that. Okay, so I've got these 3 keyframes which are rotated in, and these 3 keyframes which are rotated out. Okay, so what I've got is this flap. It's like in, out, in, out. Now you may think from the ball exercise where we did the bounce up, down, up, down, up, down, that we might want to take all these 3 in keyframes and paste them here, and then all these 3 out keyframes and paste them there, so we go like in, out, in, out, in, out. And you could do that, but don't. Let me show you why. The problem with doing it that way is if I try to select all these keyframes, right, and copy them and then paste them here, After Effects doesn't work that way. Watch. If I copy, if I go Command C, don't do this while you're following me, just watch me, I'm showing you why it doesn't work. If I go to 2 seconds and paste it, what it does is it thinks what I want is that all these layers, it copies the layers and then pastes the layers. So now I've got like double all these layers I don't want. So I'm going to go Command Z and undo that. So in order to, if you wanted to replicate these keyframes, I'd have to go like this, copy this keyframe and paste it here. Copy this one, paste it there. Copy this one, paste it there, and so on. This one there, this one there, this one there. I mean, that will work, but it's a lot of copy pasting, and I just know that there's a better way to do that. So I'm going to show you how to build this so it's not so much copy pasting. Okay. Really, what I want to do is instead of copy pasting these out, I just really want to tell the comp to go like this: 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Like this is what I want to see on the screen. I want to see the wing flapping back and forth, so back and forth and back and forth. So here's how I'm going to do that. Let's close these down. I'm going to take these 3 pieces, the hand, the forearm, and the upper arm, holding down Shift. If I click on this, hold down Shift, I can multiple select these 3 things. Okay? Because I want to take these 3 things and make them one thing, I'm going to pre-compose them into their own comp. So with all these selected, I'm going to go to Layer. All the way at the bottom, I'm going to say Pre-compose. Okay? And it wants to know what to call this. So I'm not going to call it Pre-comp 1, I'm going to call it Left Wing to flap. Okay? Or I might just say left wing, just call it left wing. And when it says move all attributes into the new composition, I do want that because I want all those rotation keyframes for the in and the out that we just made. I want all those moved into the new comp. So say OK. So what that does is it puts all three parts into this thing called left wing. And look, if I turn the eyeball on and off, it's the whole wing. And the tricky thing about this is if I open this up and look at rotation, there's no rotation keyframes here because I'm not rotating the whole left wing, but if I double click and look inside left wing, this has the in and the out like that. So this thing just has one flap. It goes in, out, and then nothing. And if I look here in cut bat, I still have this in, out, and then nothing. Okay? So what I really want to do is I want to tell After Effects to just go back and forth between 0 and 1. So just go 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and it'll look like that wing is flapping. The way I do that is to add something called time remap. So on this left wing, which has one flap built in where it goes in, out, and then nothing, I want to repeat the 0, 1, 0, 1. So with left wing selected, I'm going to go to Layer and choose Time, and there's something called Enable Time Remapping. What Enable Time Remapping lets you do is it adds this thing called Time Remap, and it lets you keyframe in time, go forwards, backwards, speed up, or slow down. Okay? And when you enable time remapping, it adds it here like another transform property, and it puts in a keyframe at the beginning and a keyframe at the end. Okay? So what I want to do is move forward to 1 second, and you can see at 1 second it's all the way out and then it just stops. I want to put a keyframe right there at 1 second. So this little diamond, click there. Now what I've got is this keyframe is at 0, this keyframe is at 1, but basically it's at 0 in time the flap is in, and at 1 second it's out. So even though this is just going back and forth in time, you can think of this keyframe as in and this one is out. So if I take this in one right here, select it and copy it, Command C for copy, move to 2 seconds and Command V paste, I've got this, in, out, in. Right? So now that I've got out, in, I can just take these two, copy them, Command C, move forward, paste it, move forward to 5, paste it, move forward to 7, paste it. See what I'm doing? I'm filling this with ins and outs. So watch, it goes in, out, in, out, in, out. I'm just scrubbing through to make sure that it's all working. This one goes in, and that one goes out. And something is weird. I'm going to get rid of this last one. Let's see what happens. Suppose in, and then, so this is what, in. I need to take this out one and copy it. Put it here at the end, paste. And if I hit play, I've got a nice smooth in out thing using time remap. So this use of time remap, I do this all the time. Any repetitive motion, something going back and forth, I only need to have one movement, flap out. Going back is just this backwards, right? So taking these 6 keyframes and using time remap to drive it in, out, right? This sort of method is very useful, and I use it for all different kinds of applications. Using time remap just to kind of go back and forth and keyframe in time. It's like a remote controller. Okay, this is a good place to pause, and I'll resume in the next clip. What we'll do is we'll take this wing, flip it, and then actually, just for fun, I give it 2 extra wings, and I'll explain why. And then we'll take this bat and put it in another composition and make it fly in a figure 8.